and welcome to Veterans Memorial Middle School's Black History Program. I will be presenting you with the welcome. Every February, America observes a special occasion called Black History Month. This observance serves as a time to remember and celebrate the many amazing accomplishments of African Americans and their importance to our country's history. Black History Month began in 1926 as Negro History Week, a week of celebration observed in mid-February. In 1976, it expanded to become Black History Month, and it now stands as a wonderful tribute to the many exceptional African Americans who have graced our country's history. Take a journey with me as we view a tradition that was birthed from our quest towards freedom. More than a century and a half ago, on December 31st, 1862, the first watch night, African Americans noted New Year's Eve as a day to reflect on freedom and faith, to celebrate community and strength, to know that the destruction of slavery was a small but mighty step on the long journey towards inclusion and equality in the nation that labor of slaves helped build. On the doors, you see the shadows of freedom. Night watchers. Blacks have gathered in churches annually on New Year's Eve ever since, praising God for bringing us safely through another year. As abolitionists and others waiting for word via telegraph, newspaper, word of mouth, that the Emancipation Proclamation has been issued. In places where they could sing and shout, stomp and pray and revel for freedom, African Americans did. In places where their joyful anticipatory noises could be made, or even where voices could safely whisper, you might have heard what is now called a traditional, in some who watch night service, watchmen, watchmen, please tell the hour of the night. And they will say, it's 2 minutes till midnight. Watchmen, watchmen, please tell the hour of the night. With strong, proud voices you will hear, it's 1 minute before the new year. Watchmen, watchmen, please tell the hour of the night. At last, it's now midnight, freedom has come. If you look around the room, you see our men representing watchmen on the post. It's been over a century and a half since the first Freedom's Eve, and tradition still brings citizens together at this time every year to celebrate how we got over. Together at this time every year, New Year's Eve. Like all other traditions, some are celebrated traditionally, spiritually, or others culturally. When you look around this room, it's many different faces. This serves as a mirror that exemplifies the pure essence of the culture of Black America. As we begin to celebrate new traditions here at Veterans, one thing remains the same. It will always, always take a village. And in that, the village, everyone have their roles. The only way to elevate as one team is to unify as one, which is symbolized with the unity fist that is displayed. This unity fist is a visual that we all can stand together and that we all can come together and to fight as one to strike a mighty blow to anything that comes up against us. Today, Veterans Memorial Middle School, we present to you your 2022 Black Heritage Program.
We were here before the buildings came on the Mayflower. We were here before the first cannons fired in the Revolutionary War. We were here. Some of us were slaves, and some of us were free, but we were here. Many of our people fought in the Revolutionary War for the issues stated in the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. That among these rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Most of our names have been forgotten by now, and the majority of us were slaves. We were listed only as property, not people. We could not write our own names because we didn't know how to write, and now it seems time for us to write our names. the length of a whip and the magnitude of a ring. It spans oceans and seas. It is the history of the human experience. It is the history of all cultures.
We began in Africa, though most of us don't know we begin in Africa, though most of us don't know where our ancestors were when they were kidnapped and brought across the ocean as slaves. We know the slave ships were overcrowded and our people were abused. The sight was terrible. One man who worked as a slave ship captain knew the sight well. He grew to hate slaving business and wrote a song that's still sang today. His name was John Newton, and the song is Amazing Grace. He wrote it one stormy night when it seems the ocean was swallowing him and all his ships with hundreds of slaves home. Song Amazing Grace.
The names on Mr. Newton's ship were African. Most received new names on the arrival at their destination. Their own children did not have African names and were raised speaking English. They had names like Frederick or Harriet or Nathaniel. Perhaps you have heard of Nathaniel Nat Turner, who led his fellow slaves in a dangerous and bloody rebellion.
I was born the property of Benjamin Turner. I had a vision of white spirits and black spirits engaged in a battle. The sun was darkened, thunder rolled in the heavens, blood flowed in the streams, and I heard a voice saying, "Such is your luck. Such you must call to sea, and let it come rough or smooth, you must surely bear it."
Nat Turner and many other slaves were executed after this rebellion. But many people, white and black, were listening and knew the message of slaves and former slaves. Many people wanted to abolish slavery, to get rid of it. They were called abolitionists. One of the most important men of our race was Frederick Douglass. Like Nat Turner, he was born a slave, but he ran away from his master and became a great speaker for the abolitionists. Standing before great audiences like this one, he would tell about his childhood and the evil of slavery.
My mother did school and most made me. Yet I shall never forget her expression when I told her I had no future for me at the minister connected to all the life. There was pity in her voice. She gave me a large treat. That night I learned I was not only a child, but somebody. The sweet cake my mother gave me was in the shape of a heart. On my mother's knees, I was a kid. My triumph was short. I dropped off to sleep only to wake in the morning to find my mother gone. I never knew the task she had. I learned after mother's death that she could read, that a field hand who learned to read in any slave trade is remarkable. But the achievement of the mother considering the place was extraordinary. Still, the dark night of slavery covered us. I languished until I felt a resurrection from the dark tomb of slavery to the heaven of freedom. I was not afraid of death. Bruises, I did death, but this spirit made me scream at
Mr. Frederick Douglass sometimes took off his shirt during his speeches and showed the deep footmarks on his back. Sometimes this caused women in the audience to think, and sometimes another former slave, a woman, joined him in the speaking of human rights.
Ain't I wonder? I have as much muscle as any man, and I can do much more than any man. I have plowed, reaped, hushed, and chopped, and mowed. Can anybody do more than that? I tell you, the men in Charles were our child brightest sons.
Another great woman of color did not read many speeches, but she did make many journeys. She herself has run away to where freedom was, but returned time and again to the slave world to rescue other slaves. She took them to one high place to another, where we using what we call the Underground Railroad. The Underground Railroad was not a real railroad with trains and tracks and trains. It consisted of of many safe houses where runaway slaves could stay on their way to freedom. Some called her Tugged Moses. Like Moses of old, she led the slaves to a promised land.
I was only 7 years old when I was sent away to take care of a white baby. One morning, I stood by the table waiting till it was up to take it. Just by me was a bowl, a white bowl of sugar. I have never had nothing good. And that sugar did look good. And my missus' back was turned. So I just put my finger in the sugar bowl just to take one look. And she turned and saw me. And I run and I run and I run, and I was clearly tucked out. I came to a big pig pen. I stayed from Friday to the next Tuesday, fighting those little pigs for the potato peelers and other scraps. By Tuesday, I was so starved, I know that I'd go back to my missus. I hadn't got nowhere else to go. But years later, I did have somewhere to go. Freedom Land. And I took others with me. You see, there was one or two things that I had to have right. Liberty or death. And if I could not have one, I would have the other. For no man shall ever take me alive.
See that friend all dressed
modern civil rights movement that transformed America and influenced freedom revolution around the world. I've been arrested 4 days early in my hometown of Montgomery, Alabama for refusing to get up and give up my seat on a city bus to a white man, which was a much resented customary practice at the time. Martin Luther King said of me and others, when the history books are written in the future, someone have to say, there lived a race of people, a black people, fleece locks, black complexion, a people who had a moral courage to stand up for their rights, and thereby they inject a new meaning to the veins of history and civilization.
This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we'll be able to do out the mountain of despair, a stone of hope. With this faith, we'll be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we'll be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we'll be free one day. This will be the day when all God's children will be able to sing with a new meaning. My country, 'tis to thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing, will rise from every mountainside. Let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. So let freedom ring from Virginia's hilltops to New Hampshire. Let freedom ring from the mighty mountains of New York. Let freedom ring from the heights and Alleghenies of Pennsylvania. Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado. Let freedom ring from the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi. Let freedom from every mountainside. Let freedom ring. And when this happens, and when we allow freedom ring, we'll let it ring from every village and every hamlet, every state and every city. We're going to speed up that day with all God's children, black men and white, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants